splendid display that you...
Well, look at this picture. A young man off to war, then back to marry his sweetheart, Elsie.
Whoa.
That is your wedding picture, Ernest.
Well, for goodness sakes almighty.
Look at that. He's in his GI uniform. What? Army, Air Force, what is that?
I was in Air Force headquarters.
Oh,
and I want you to remember what I say. I was engaged to Elsie before I went away into the service. And when I came back from the war, I was in the Philippines and Japan for 2.5 years. God.
Okinawa, New Guinea.
When the ship came back to Seattle, I picked up the phone and called Elsie and said, "Honey, I'm back." And she said, "Oh, that's fine. When can we get married?" and then Elsie and I got married along with about 1 million other couples. Most of you are so young, you won't understand, but your parents will remember that how many couples got married right after World War II, and of course most of you are too young to remember World War II.
That made that generation. That's right.
But anyway, and so. This is thank you very much, Paul. But this is a picture of Elsie and me getting married, and right after the war. Elsie is in her wedding gown, and then our daughter Pamela. We were married in 1945, and then Pamela was married. Pamela was born in 1950.
And Father, how many orchid meetings and how many orchid meetings did Mother go to with you? How many? She was a pretty energetic orchid wife.
I couldn't ask for a wife to be a better wife and more cooperative than Elsie was.
She was a great gal, Ernest.
Oh, what else do you have here, Paul?
Well, here's the guy. You worked there at Armacost for a while, but here's the picture leading the Stuart dynasty.
Wow, look at that picture.
Ernest Hetherington made Stuarts. Everybody knows that.
Oh,
all
yes.
these catalogs, all this stuff here. Look at this, is a picture of Ernest. Frank Fordyce.
Frank Fordyce, oh yes.
Fred A. Stewart.
I was general manager of Stewart Orchids for about 35 years, and I think a good many of you have been to Stewart Orchids.
Well, let me ask you a couple deals, because look at, here's some plants here. This plant here is the one called This is called Balka silver orb. These guys haven't heard of it. Is that the plant that put Stewart's on the map?
Balka silver orb changed the orchid world, but I remember when a particular Balka silver orb, I used Balka silver orb a great deal for breeding, and many of the famous Cybidiums that helped to form the Cybidium world. After World War II, came from Balka silver orb.
What was your most famous cross of that group?
Look, of course, that's a question that's easy to answer because
this is Lillian Stewart right here. Is that the one?
Lillian Stewart was one of the most famous, was the most famous Cybidium hybrid.
Most highly awarded.
From Balka silver orb. and Lillian Stewart was the most awarded Cybidium hybrid. I don't know whether or not the number of awards still stand, but
it was a terrific plant. Here's something I want to ask you, Ernie. You notice here, the Santa Barbara Show weekend, we're having this auction. And we've had that here a number of years, help support this group, help support the conference. But the auction is not new to Santa Barbara. They had auctions from the beginning, 1945, 46 on, see? And I want to ask you about one auction. It's in this Cybidium, this is the Cybidium Society News, 1953. And this is telling about the auction. When did you go to work for Stewart's, Ernest?
1947.
Okay, so in 1953, you're working for Mr. Stewart. You're working for Stewart's. You're going strong. Well, what happened at the auction? The growers, I guess growers from anywhere, could auction plants. And so in 1953, the word got out that there's a 2-bulb, a 3-bulb division of the famous, very rare Cybidium Rosanna Pinky. Unlike these, minimum bid is $2,200. Now, don't try that cheaper stuff. And so, it opens. I don't know if there was more bids or not, but Fred Stewart raises his hand, says that, well, it wasn't Tony Velarde, but the guy was just like Tony Velarde, Jack Hudlow. He was one of our original founders. He was everything that Velarde knows he must have got from Hudlow, because it's exactly that way. $2,600 sold to Mr. Stewart. And I suppose he brought it to you to put in the greenhouse to take care of. And so what happened is, the next year, under the good care of Ernest Hetherington, it's got a spike, and they're waiting for the moment. Do you remember the situation?
Well, I remember when Rosanna Pinky flowered. I started using it for breeding because Rosanna Pinky was the centroploid.
Well, here's what happened. I don't know. I'm anxious to know if you were involved in this. When it came to bloom, it came into bloom. Most people never seen Rosanna Pinky. How would they know what it looked like? But when it bloomed, it was this flower right here, a nice pink flower. But it wasn't Rosanna Pinky. It was Rio Rita Radiant. It was mislabeled. And the person who sold that was Mary B. Ireman, famous breeder. She used to say she's Swiss Italian, but I can tell you she was mostly Italian. And boy, I can just see Mr. Stewart saying, Ernest, and I don't know if you had to do this, if he says, Ernest, would you call up Mrs. Ireland and tell her the plant's not labeled right? And she would have gone into orbit, I can tell you. You would probably, if it was Don Brown or me or this guy, you probably would have just said, it was just $2,600. I think you better forget about it. But as it was, I suppose he got his money back. This is the Rosanna Pinky. The plant was mislabeled, but I don't know if Stewart's eventually got it or not. This is Rosanna Pinky. Ernest Hetherington, look at this. Among the greatest of the great. Look at these guys. These are the famous people of the orchid world the last century. Here's Gustav. This is Louis Knudsen. Here's Mr. Alexander. No, here's Knudsen. Alexander. That's Gus Milquist. That's Sanders, I think. Look, there's your boss, B.O. Bracey. Was he an ornery guy?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Everyone in the picture is smiling except for B.O. Bracey.
This portrait of Ernest was taken by the famous photographer Charles Martin Fitch. He sent us however we send them these days, to get it and made it for you. Ernie, congratulations, you've had a fantastic life you've made a fantastic life for all of us in orchids. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate you have a habit of doing that, and I certainly appreciate what you have done tonight. So thank you again, Paul. And
thank you, Ernest, for making a great night for us all.
Oh, very good, very good.
Thank you, Paul. And while you're still eating, we're going to move the cake up front. And shall we move the table back? Okay.